Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at wagertalk.com. All daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including $40 5% best bets. As an added bonus, all new users will receive $25 in wager bucks credited to their accounts, available for immediate use after their initial $9 Monday purchase. So make sure to take advantage of $9 Mondays at wagertalk.com.
Welcome into the NFL Opening Line Report, Monday, November 8th. I am Drew Martin, joined by Teddy Covers. We're talking the Week 10 NFL lines, where these lines are going, so you can get the best entry point throughout the week, today primarily. But without further ado, my co-host here on the Opening Line Report each and every Monday right here on the Wager Talk YouTube channel, Teddy Covers. Teddy, welcome in. Happy Monday morning to you.
Week for the emergency betting alerts, we said get down on Buffalo minus 14. Even though the Bills lost the game, if you wanted the Buffalo side, the 14s were there. They weren't there by kickoff. That's us doing our job. The other one was Cleveland plus 3. And again, that was available on Monday morning. It was never available the rest of the week. That's the goal of the opening line report, to give you the numbers to get down on right now that aren't going to be there tomorrow or Thursday or Saturday or an hour before kickoff. So we'll see if we can do that again today. Unfortunately, for me, I had a crap day yesterday. Look, I don't know a whole lot of people that had a real good day in the NFL yesterday. I didn't do anything right. From the reports I've read and the people I've talked to, yesterday was the single best Sunday of the entire season for the books. The wise guys lost and the recreational players lost. And just about every big decision went in favor of the house. So the books popping the champagne corks on Monday morning. Bettors this week, myself included, not so much.
Myself included as well, Teddy. But hey, it is bounce back time. And talking about Teddy, Teddy talking about where these lines are moving, that is the point of the show. So even though the Jaguars beating the Bills, hey, we're giving you the right numbers. Hopefully, again, on today's show, we got the Monday Nighter up first, though, Teddy. For the people watching live here, we got the Chicago Bears at the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're seeing Steelers -7. There is a -6 in the hook out there. 40.5 are actually mostly gone. We've seen some under money down to about 40 pretty much across the board for the total. Any quick thoughts here, Bears and Steelers?
So the under money came, and now it's coming back the other direction. In fact, we're seeing over money coming in the markets right now. It was all 39.5 this morning. Now it's all 40. And I'm seeing some indications it could go perhaps a little bit higher. So there's a little bit of urgency if you like this over. If you like the under, there's no urgency. As for -7 on Pittsburgh, I don't anticipate this line moving in any real way off the 7 at this stage. We could see, again, the leading indicator book, some of the sharp money's coming on Chicago plus the 7, but I don't think it pushes the line back to 6.5. So the only urgency for Monday Night Football, if you like the over, bet that now.
Okay, sooner rather than later on the over, guys. So into the NFL opening line report starting on Thursday, like we do every week. Thursday, November 11th, we're seeing the Baltimore Ravens travel to South Florida, Teddy, to face the Miami Dolphins. We're seeing 47 in the hook being the total, and we're seeing the Ravens -7.5. There is a -7 with juice out there in the marketplace. That's the Ravens on the road as the touchdown favorite here in Hard Rock Stadium. You like it anything in Miami Gardens Thursday night, Teddy?
So the look-ahead line, and again, we do the same strategy every single week. We talk about what the look-ahead line was from last week. These were bettable lines. I use the numbers from the Westgate Superbook here in Las Vegas. There are a number of other books that have quote-unquote look-ahead lines that you could have bet last week. But what it does, it gives us a sense of where the markets were valuing these teams prior to what we just saw yesterday. The look-ahead line here was Baltimore -6.5 and 48. Right now, we've seen the markets go to 7.5 on this game with a total of 47.5. We don't know yet if Tua is going to play for Miami. He's officially listed as questionable with the finger injury. I was reading stuff last night, and one report seemed positive and one report seemed not so much. And, of course, the Dolphins are coming off a game in which they won with their backup quarterback, Jacoby Brissett, and they won a game in which they committed 5 turnovers and won. That's Miami's first win while committing at least 5 turnovers since October of 1990. And it was also the most turnovers in an NFL game since 2016, 9 turnovers in that contest. Mike Gesicki after the game, quote, "a ton." It means a ton, especially when we didn't play our best football. There's still a lot to correct, but there's finally something positive. Of course, it's not like Miami's been beating a whole lot of good teams so far this season, and the win over the Texans yesterday, most assuredly not a good team that Miami beat. But the fact that they made the mistakes that they made and still found a way to win, certainly a positive sign. And their defense played great throughout that contest. As for the Ravens yesterday, again, first downs, Baltimore 36, Minnesota 13. Time of possession, Baltimore 46 minutes, Minnesota 23 minutes. There were many ways that the Ravens dominated that contest, but they fell behind early and they blew a late lead. A bizarre coverage on a 4th and 9 to allow the game-tying touchdown that sent this contest into overtime. And it wasn't the only one. I mean, they had Minnesota stopped early on 4th and goal and 2, but there was a pass interference call that gave them a new set of downs. John Harbaugh after the game, take what you can, give away nothing. That's winning football. We've done a lot of giving. We've also done a lot of overcoming. I'd like to cut down on the giving, even though it's Thanksgiving coming up. We'll be thankful for the overcoming. This is now 3 times this year where Baltimore has trailed by double digits in the second half and rallied to win. Lamar Jackson, I'd rather not be playing from behind, but our team, we're fighters. We believe in each other. We've got faith. I know the Ravens are a team I want to be laying more than a touchdown with right now. Miami got that arrow off their back, got off the schneid with an ugly win yesterday. We'll see if Tua plays. That's likely to affect this line more than any other factor.
And Teddy, I've asked you the last couple, some interesting answers. On the other hand, talking about the Thursday nighter here, Baltimore Ravens making the trip on the road, Miami playing. If this was on Sunday, would this be any different side or totals in your opinion in terms of where the opening line would be?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
It's not a situation where there's a clear negative for one of the teams playing on the road on Thursday night or something like that. Like we saw with the Jets last week, we talked about the Thursday night game and the rookie head coaches struggle with the Thursday night road games. And we saw that with the Jets where they were blown. I mean, they almost came back to cover, but they were blown out in that game early and were not prepared on either side of the football to open, certainly on the defense side of the football, to open that game. That's not unusual for the rookie head coaches. For a veteran team like Baltimore that's done this plenty of times before, and a coach like Harbaugh that's done this plenty of times before, I think it's a non-factor for the point spread.
Okay. Moving on to the Sunday slate here, guys. Talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars. One of the more surprising wins of the season, at least in my opinion here, Teddy. Talking about the Jags this past week. 2-4-1, 2-4-2. We're starting at the top of the card, working our way down, guys. Jacksonville at Indianapolis. We're seeing the Colts minus 10 in the hook. That's minus 10.5 point home favorites. 47.5. There are 48 starting to pop up totals-wise, Teddy.
Yeah, look ahead line was Indy minus 10 and 48. My powering number is Indy minus 10, and the market's sitting, 10.5 this morning. Total sitting like 47.5, 48. So we're not seeing a significant market adjustment off of the games these two teams played this past week. Is basically exactly the same. And look, the Jags defense played great yesterday. They had more takeaways yesterday than they had in the first 7 games combined. And we talk about Josh Allen, Dwayne Smoot, and Taven Byron. That was a heck of a pass rush from the Jags. They've won 2 of their last 3 right now. Josh Allen, the Josh Allen who won yesterday, quote, "That's what we're supposed to do." This quote's worth noting from cornerback Shaq Griffin. I was just looking at their sideline, and one thing I know is they don't have the same energy as us. If you feel like one team deserved this win, it's us, but you got to believe that. That's one thing I kept preaching at everybody else. Look on the sideline, watching them walking around. It's like they don't care. They don't deserve this. Let's show them why. So now we've got to continue that momentum. All that said, the offense did nothing. It's a divisional game for Indy. And if the Colts can run like they ran against the Jets, Jonathan Taylor had a monster game. It was the single highest game rushing total in the NFL this season. Frank Reich takes the pressure off the passing game when you run like that. You could feel it early. You could really feel it dominating the line early. Wentz now with multiple TD passes in 6 straight games. He avoided the mistakes last week that plagued him the week before. This line is going to sit in this range, 10, 10.5. If you like Indy, I think there are a few 10s out there. There are not many. You can shop around and see if you can find one. But this is one of these games that is primed to move side or total on Monday morning.
Teddy, next game up, we got 243, 244, 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific kick here. The Cleveland Browns at the New England Patriots. Pats -1 in the hook, -1. We are even seeing a pick 'em with some juice on it. That's the Pats at home, 45 being the total. What are we thinking in Gillette Stadium Sunday?
Yeah, the early money has come for Cleveland. Look ahead line here was New England -3, a total of 44.5. My powering number came a little bit shorter, 1.5 on the Patriots, and the market's moving in that direction this morning. The threes all taken out, the 2.5s all taken out, the twos disappearing quickly for the New England Patriots. I mean, the Browns, that was impressive what Cleveland did yesterday. We haven't seen that Browns team all year, and they were dominant in that game against Cincinnati, particularly on the defensive side of the football. The secondary, which had been healthy and had a bunch of guys listed as questionable or doubtful, everyone ended up playing. They finished the game with +3 turnovers, and the secondary was all over Cincy's receiver. That might be a problem, considering that Myles Garrett's been as good a pass rusher as any in the NFL this season, and we've seen Mac Jones have his fair share of struggles the last couple of weeks. Baker Mayfield, after the win for the Browns, quote, "Our whole locker room needed that. We played for each other. It's just the type of team that we have. I trust the guys in this locker room. I've said it over and over again, and I truly mean it. When adversity hits, nobody flinched. It was a long week. I'd be lying if I said otherwise." Of course, the Browns, a bunch of big plays in the game against Cincy. They became the first team since the 1967 San Diego Chargers to record an interception return for a touchdown, a receiving touchdown, and a rushing touchdown of 60-plus yards in a single game. Doesn't happen very often. Those type of things don't happen very often against New England either. So I would anticipate a lot more dink and dunk for Cleveland than what we saw in yesterday's game against Cincinnati. As for the Patriots, a dominant defensive showing against Carolina yesterday. Belichick, we were able to create some pressure. Our defense came to play. 43 straight wins when leading by 8 or more at halftime. Belichick doesn't blow leads. And, of course, J.C. Jackson, 88-yard interception return touchdown was the difference maker in that game. That's what the Patriots do. They find ways to stifle team. New England right now remains a one-way team for me. We saw it again yesterday. Patriots overachieving to their box scores, overachieving perhaps to their talent level. Browns maybe bet on all the way, but so is New England right now. Fun game on Sunday. No urgency at this stage, regardless of which side you like.
Great analysis on that one, Teddy. Bringing the goods with the since 1960s. You brought one with the Dolphins since the Dan Marino area in 1990. I'm loving it, Teddy. Moving down the list, 245, 246, 1 o'clock Eastern here. We're talking the Dirty Birds, the Atlanta Falcons on the road in Dallas, the house that Jerry built at the Dallas Cowboys, -8.5 to -10, mostly -9s out there, Teddy. Actually, some opinion in the marketplace, depending where we're shopping. 53.5 being the total. What are we thinking here, Atlanta at Dallas?
Yeah, I mean, we'll call it 9s and 10s out there right now for this game. But I'm not getting a sense that the line is definitely moving in this direction right now. So it's not a situation where I'm like, if you want to lay the 9, lay it. It's not going to be there. This isn't that. Atlanta found a way to blow another lead yesterday. But there was no running game at all for the Falcons. Their long carry of the game was 5 yards, 25 rushes for 34 yards. Again, that's the Saints defense. The Cowboys defense likely to be a little bit weaker in that regard. In fact, we saw no problems running on Dallas yesterday for Denver. But that was, I'm not someone that freaks out over box scores. That's a concerning box score for the Falcons. They played 6 straight games all decided by a touchdown or less, which makes this point spread perhaps look a little bit high in that regard. That being said, we're getting, I don't like this quote from Matt Ryan. Felt good after that one. I was excited. We needed to make a play. We needed to win that game. I'm proud of the guys for getting the job done. Arthur Smith. Our mindset has been we're going to finish games. This shows more about their mental toughness. Again, this is a team that lost 4 fourth-quarter leads last season and blew another one yesterday and then found a way. Cordell Patterson with the catch of the game. The fourth completion of more than 30 yards against the Saints defense. And the big play there, Was it Atlanta good or New Orleans melting down? The market's saying it was more New Orleans melting down. All that being said, it's not like Dallas played a good game yesterday. Mike McCarthy. The message is don't take the cheese. And frankly, we were outcoached. We were outplayed all the way through. This is the first time I felt clearly our energy didn't exceed our opponent. That's disappointing. And even when things went right for Dallas, they blocked the punt to give them all the momentum at the start of the second half. Would have changed the whole game. But the rookie touched it just beyond the line of scrimmage. Denver recovered. They ended up getting a fresh set of downs off a blocked punt, which doesn't happen very often. Ezekiel Elliott limped off the field a couple of times yesterday, dealing with a knee injury. Quote, something I've been dealing with the last couple of weeks. And, of course, Dallas has some offensive line issues right now. Tyron Smith was missed in yesterday's ballgame, although comparing Denver's defense to Atlanta's defense, not one that I'm looking to do. Look ahead line here was Dallas 9.5, 50.5, and that's pretty much where the markets are this morning. No urgency on this one. If you want, again, I'm not. I give the emergency betting alerts where I'm confident. You got to get this side because the number's coming. Or when you're around a key number, hey, grab the 2.5 or lay the 2.5 and grab the 3 right now. This isn't one of those spots where I'm convinced the markets are moving up or down. I don't know what the markets are going to do. The markets don't seem to know what they're going to do right now. There is some variance on this one early.
Sure, Teddy. Both teams kind of a tricky handicap. I mean, the Atlanta Falcons, like you kind of touched on there, sitting at 4-4, kind of surprising this season. But we'll move down the list. Buffalo, New York Jets, AFC East battle here. We got -13. That's the Bills as the road favorite. Looks like the 13.5s were wiped out pretty much across the board. Looking at the Wager Talk odds screen, guys, 47.5 being the total. This is Buffalo Bills at New York Jets. Battle for New York here in the AFC East. Teddy, what are we thinking?
Yeah, look ahead line here. Bills -13.5, 48.5. My parity number is only Buffalo -12. And the market's in that, what are we calling it? 13 this morning. There were some 12.5s earlier, but we're not seeing a key move around a key number. Zach Wilson's not going to go. Mike White is a question mark this week. It could be Josh Johnson again for the Jets. We don't know. Although Johnson, again, threw a career best 3 touchdown passes all in the final 18 minutes last week. And, of course, a career high 317 yards from Josh Johnson in that ballgame, which is something you don't often see from a guy who's been in the league for the better part of the last decade. Robert Saleh, after the loss, kept it mellow. The defense didn't show up. Josh did an awesome job coming in, running the offense exactly the way it's supposed to be played, hitting the open receiver, just moving the chains. We just need to be able to match their defensive intensity. Of course, that's a bit of an understatement, given they give up the highest rushing total of any team in any game all year. And now they're facing a Bills team that's mad. Buffalo was a no-show yesterday. I talked about the quote earlier from the Jags, talking about how the Bills sidelines was completely dead. Josh Allen, the quarterback, we played like crap, and it starts from me. And I wrote, he used an expletive that I'm not using. We played like blank, and it starts with me. The loss stings, but we will be better because of it. But it was a bizarre game plan for Buffalo. They never trailed by more than a field goal. All right. 51 pass dropbacks, 9 running back carries. That's not the Bills' game plan. They spent all offseason, we're going to run the football. Right now, they can't run the football. Also had 112 penalties 12 penalties for 118 yards and 3 turnovers. One would anticipate when teams face the bad teams and they're focused, the bad teams have trouble. And one would expect a fair bit of focus in the Buffalo Bills this week, even though the Jets do have extra time to prepare.
That's a wild ratio there. Pass to run for the Buffalo Bills. See if they flip that. Moving down the list, guys, we got New Orleans Saints and the Tennessee Titans coming off that Sunday night football game. Teddy looking good doing so. -3 or -3 in the hook here. That's -3.5 or -3 as we're talking right now. Tennessee Titans as the home favorite. 45 being the total. New Orleans Saints at Tennessee Titans. What are we thinking here, Teddy?
Yeah, look ahead line here. Titans 2.5, 44.5. My priority number 6.5 on Tennessee. I did not downgrade. I downgrade off performance. I didn't downgrade them when Derrick Henry got hurt. I mean, I maybe took out a half point. And obviously, even though the offense didn't march up and down the field last night against the Saints, or against the Rams' elite stop unit, their defense came to play and they found ways to win that ball game. That's what Tennessee's been doing. 4 straight wins as an underdog, and that doesn't happen a whole lot in the modern NFL. The market's not likely to be excited about that concept this week because they're laying points in a non-divisional, non-conference matchup off those 4 straight wins as an underdogs. I don't know. We're going to see a ton of support for Tennessee here. And again, you talked about the 3.5. There's one prominent 3.5 out there. The markets are pretty much on 3 for this. So I'm not going to tell everyone to run over to South Point and grab the plus 3.5 because that's the only one out there. But I don't think that'll be there for much longer right now. So it's basically a 3, which is kind of interesting. I mean, the Saints look like garbage for most of the day yesterday and then rallied in the fourth quarter to make things take the lead and then ended up giving it up at the end with a defensive meltdown. Trevor Siemian, we got it going, but it was too little, too late. You can't spot a team like that many scores. I knew there was a lot of time left. The game wasn't over. You were still holding your breath a little bit. Sean Payton, they played better than us today. We didn't do the things that winning teams do consistently in our league. And we got to get that corrected. But there are some red flags for New Orleans. Again, this receiving corps is as weak as any in the NFL. And a defense that's been top 3 in basically every category over the last 12 months. Best red zone defense in the NFL going into yesterday's game. They got burned deep, and they don't have pass catchers, and that may be a problem against a Tennessee that is on a big roll right now. But the wise guys won't like the Titans this week. They're not going to like this spot.
Guys, welcome into the NFL opening line report. We're making our way down the Sunday slate here. He's Teddy Covers. I'm Drew Martin each and every Monday right here on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. 10 a.m. Pacific time. Shout out to the chat box. Everybody joining us live. RJ, Nick, Roger Long, Joe, Chris, Joey, all of you guys, welcome in. Feel free to chime in. Any questions? We'll try to answer as many as possible at the end. We already got a couple here, Teddy, some good ones. And if you're watching on replay, that is cool too. Feel free to comment below on the YouTube channel. Love reading those comments. And Teddy and myself will be in throughout the week answering any questions in the comments. Moving down the list here, Teddy, we got Tampa Bay at Washington, 9.5 or 10 available in the marketplace. That's Tampa Bay laying doubles at some shops here, Teddy, on the road, 51.5. What are we thinking in our nation's capital?
Look ahead line was 7.5 and 51. My powering number came out 12.5 on this game, way higher. And of course, we're talking about 2 teams coming off a bye, so nothing happened between the look ahead line and the game, and yet the markets are saying respect Tampa a little bit more, which I don't disagree with. You know, I like the concept of the Bucs off a loss and off a bye. You know, and of course, I mean, Brady's had all kinds of problems with the Saints. They lost that game to the Saints. He wasn't sharp. He looked like he needed a bye week. They were -3 in turnovers. They had 11 penalties. He threw a late interception that cost him the game. Quote, I just threw it to the wrong guy. I had Mike Evans open. It cost us the game. These are the spots where you tend to want Tampa Bay. And, you know, when you look at Washington going to the bye, I mean, that was a game where Denver tried to give it to him 3 different times at the end, and then Washington just couldn't take it. Ron Rivera afterwards, I'm frustrated. I'm disappointed. I think we've missed some opportunities. I think there are some things we can be better at. I know we can be better at. But, you know, I mean, it's been the same story all year for Washington. The defense hasn't lived up to expectations. The offense isn't very good. You know, it dropped interceptions. You're allowing sacks. You're not converting on 4th downs. The execution hasn't been there for this team. The new kickers blowing field goals. You know, one thing I will give the Washington football team credit for, when they faced adversity all year, they've punched back. And, you know, if Tampa looks past this team, which they might, Washington might hang around in this one. But in terms of where this number's going, I know it was 7.5 to look ahead, but I'm not necessarily expecting a ton of market support for the dog in this one. Like the favorite, not emergency, but I wouldn't hesitate to get down now.
Next game up, 253-254, Detroit Lions, Pittsburgh Steelers. Of course, the Steelers playing tonight, so there is one shop not showing a line, but pretty much across the board, we're seeing 44, 43.5 as the total, and anywhere from -8.5, Teddy, to -9.5. We could call it probably a consensus -9. That's the Steelers at home hosting the Detroit Lions next Sunday, Teddy.
Yeah, and one thing we're not going to do is give emergency betting alerts around the number 9. That's as dead a number as there is in the NFL. Certainly as dead a single-digit number as there is. Literally every other number is more important than 9. 1s are more important to capture. 2s, 3s, 4s, even 5s in the modern era with the 2-point conversion. 6s, 7s, 8s, 10s. Those are all important to capture. 9, not so much. So
Really? Okay.
we don't worry about the the 8.5, 9, 9.5. Every half point matters, but if there's one half point that doesn't matter that much, it's the 8.5, 9.5. It really,
Gotcha.
that's the one where I would say don't freak out if you lose it. Now the Steelers obviously play tonight. If they look great, I don't think this line comes much higher. If they look awful, I wouldn't be surprised if it comes a little bit lower. Certainly from a concept for Pittsburgh. The Cleveland game last week, playoff revenge. Monday Night Football this week. Oh, and next week you got the Lions. The winless Lions. It's not a Steelers spot. And of course, the Lions. The Lions are off. Look at line here, by the way, 10-44. My powering number 10 as well. And the market's a little bit lighter than that here. Again, I'm not surprised the markets are. From a spot standpoint, there's a long-term trend. You want the winless teams off their bye week. There's certainly a sense of urgency for Detroit after that dismal finale before the bye. Dan Campbell, I can take a week and look at everything. Talking about how his defense got pushed around last time out. We got pushed around bad. Tracy Walker, the safety. If this doesn't get better, we're going to be 0-17. One would anticipate this is the type of game where the Lions are going to bring their best effort. It may not matter against this. The Lions can't get to 20, and the Steelers defense doesn't allow 20 very often, so it might not matter. But from an effort standpoint, from a spot standpoint, wise guys are going to look at Detroit plus in this game. You can expect that. So note that as you're watching the game tonight. If Pittsburgh looks good and blows them out, even if we see 10s, briefly, they're likely to get bought back down. Markets are going to like Detroit this week.
Guys, any questions, fire them away in the chat box. Teddy, I got one off the top of my head here because I've noticed it since doing it just this year in the NFL opening line report with you each and every Monday, 10 a.m. Pacific time right here on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. With Pittsburgh playing tonight, in the beginning of the season, right now when we'd be doing the opening line report, there would be multiple books not posting the odds for their next week's game. And as we're talking right now, there's only 2 books, that being Pinnacle and Bookmaker, both offshore, not posting the line. So is that sports books becoming more confident? Is this something we see each and every year? Is this normal to you that sports books are posting the lines at this point in the season, but they didn't in the beginning of the season?
This is the influence of non-Nevada books in the U.S. All right. This is what competition brings.
Okay.
All right. Back in the day, the offshores weren't putting up the numbers and the Vegas books weren't putting up the numbers. And the numbers didn't get posted. Now, you have other entries into the, we can put up numbers, in terms of sports book, and they've been aggressive at putting up numbers. The Jersey books, the Colorado, et cetera, et cetera. So competition brings good things for bettors. And right now, make no mistake about it, this is the best scenario. This is the best competition I've seen in the sports betting industry since the offshores first went nuts in the early aughts. And the competition was fierce and the sign-up bonuses were ridiculous. And that wasn't legalized or regulated. This is all legalized and regulated. And the competition is fierce and the sign-up bonuses are outstanding. It's a great time to be a bettor around the country. Even if you got your butt kicked yesterday, the opportunities are out there with the books right now in a way that they won't be 5 years from now. They weren't 5 years ago. But right now, everyone's worried about market share and making sure they hold and build market share. That's the key metric that they're looking at. And that's why we're seeing so many more lines getting posted early in the week that would not have been posted, even 2 or 3 years ago.
Absolutely. That's great stuff, Teddy. It makes total sense. And thanks for explaining it. And guys, I mean, to Teddy's point, customer acquisition is a big part of these sports books kind of business plan right now. And as sports bettors, we can use that to our advantage, with the money they're giving out and just signing up and having more shops to bet at. So good stuff, Teddy. We got Minnesota, LA Chargers next game up, 255, 256. If you're following along in rotation order, we're going down at the Wager Talk odds screen. This is the first afternoon, 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific kick here. We got 52 being the total, Teddy, and seeing -2.5 also seeing a -3 out there. That's the LA Chargers at home. What are we thinking in Southern California on Sunday?
So let's get. What do we have a new? We have a new alert. Is that the
I think
case?
we hit the big time. I'm not sure.
All right, let's go. Let's get it in here. All right, that'll work.
Boom, there it is.
That's a
all right, good stuff.
Yeah, straight from Wayne's World. Love it. And this is not a traditional. Again, there's two of them today, and they're both games that are -2.5 and -3, and I don't know which way the game's going to land. But the point is, if you like the Chargers, you can find -2.5 right now. They're widely available. If you like the Vikings, you can find a +3 right now. They're widely available. Whichever side you like, make that bet now. This is going 2.5 or 3, and you can lock in at the best of the number. We don't know that's going to be there later in the week. Look ahead line here: Chargers -3, total of 50.5. My power rating number is the Chargers -4. And again, Minnesota they were beat up yesterday in Baltimore. 36-13 in first downs. Possession, 46 minutes to 23 minutes. The defense allowed 500 yards. They were on the field for the entire fourth quarter and the entirety of overtime. That's not going to be a fresh defense. And Mike Zimmer, after the game, I thought we were actually playing pretty well on defense, and then we kind of got worn down. This is a team that hasn't lost a game all season by more than 7 points. All 5 of their defeats, they've been in those games. But that was a tough loss yesterday for Minnesota. They were in control of that game. They let it all fall apart. They rallied, and then they still lost in the end. They got the turnover in overtime and couldn't do anything with it. I worry about the Vikings here. All that being said, the Chargers defense continues to get gashed. I mean, they were gashed yesterday by Philly on the ground. This is not the team that's controlling the line of scrimmage on the defense side of the football. And when it comes to injuries, impact injuries, I don't know who they're going to start at cornerback this week. Ryan Smith limped off the field. Asante Samuel's injured. Michael Davis is injured. The backups to the backups were playing at the end of the game. The guys they called up off the practice squad yesterday. And that's sometimes a concern when you're playing a team like Minnesota that can and will chuck the football around. So, again, whichever side you like, not going to hurt to lock in now. -2.5 or +3 for the Chargers and the Vikings.
Backups to the backups. Watch out for that, guys. Cluster injuries. Keep in mind, the roster availability, just the cap at the mid-50s. Sometimes teams really struggle with that. We got Carolina, Arizona up next here, Teddy. 44.5 being the total, -10. So laying doubles here at home. That's the Arizona Cardinals. What are we thinking Panthers and Cardinals Sunday, Teddy?
So this is Kyler Murray is going to play line.
Okay.
Which I'm not necessarily, let me just see what, he's officially listed as questionable. This is also in theory the type of game that Arizona might be able to win without him, which could influence Kingsbury's decision as to whether to start Murray or not this week. A 100% Kyler Murray is worth more than even one game at this stage, because Arizona's starting to think Super Bowl. That was impressive what they did yesterday. Look ahead line here. There was no look ahead line based on the Murray injury. My number, Arizona, -11 with Murray, -5.5 with Colt McCoy. And it's a Panthers team that's it was problematic yesterday, to put that mildly. Multiple injuries on the offensive line during the game. The starting center, Matt Paredes, the left tackle, Cam Irving, both got hurt. Supposedly Paredes tore his ACL and will miss the remainder of the season. You had Robbie Anderson and Sam Darnold, who enjoyed their tenure in New York so much together. They hipped up in Carolina, and Anderson screaming and throwing his helmet down at Darnold on the sideline. And, those are a problem. Matt Rule, who benched Sam Darnold a few weeks back and then didn't bench him yesterday. Quote, I wanted to give him a chance to play his way out of it. It just seemed like the right things to do. And again, at a backup QB position, P.J. Walker's not an NFL quarterback. So it's not like there's a lot that Matt Rule can do right now. The defense hung really tough yesterday as long as they could, but the offense just couldn't get out of their own way. And, of course, an 88-yard pick six goes a long way. Impressive for Arizona yesterday. Dominant offensive showing. Colt McCoy, who came in with 30 touchdowns and 20 interceptions, he's been in the NFL since 2010, and that's his career numbers. No Murray, no Hopkins, no A.J. Green. Chase Edmonds gets hurt, and it doesn't matter. McCoy was chucking the football around. Kingsbury called a brilliant game. The swagger was there. Arizona, 5-0 straight up and against the spread on the road. All 5 of them double-digit wins, but as home favorites, they haven't necessarily been quite so good in that role. And coming off the big divisional win, this could be a flat spot for Arizona. We could see something. Remember, Dallas got Dak back after a one-game absence where they won without him and laid an egg at home. See if Kyler Murray plays this week for Arizona. Despite the issues that Sam Darnold has had, this isn't going to be a game I'm going to be laying with the Cardinals.
Sure, Teddy. Quarterback availability, a big part of this handicap. Also a big part of the next handicap. Heading to Lambeau Field, we got Green Bay Packers hosting the Seattle Seahawks. 4:25 Eastern, 1:25 Pacific kick here, Teddy. 49.5 being the total. We're seeing -4 in the hook. That's the Packers favored at home. There is a -5 out there. What are we liking in Lambeau?
Yeah, we don't know if Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers are going to play this week. I mean, the line will move based on quarterback availability. My number, Rodgers versus no Rodgers number. I made it with Rodgers, Green Bay -7. With a Geno Smith versus Jordan Love matchup, I made it -2. The look-ahead line here was Green Bay 5 and 49.5. That look-ahead line came out before Rodgers was announced as COVID out. And, of course, I mean, the Packers yesterday, lots of mistakes. The special teams was a disaster. The defense played great. Jordan Love was not comfortable in the pocket and made a ton of mistakes and looked like a rookie quarterback making his first start, even though it was in his second year. Not a confidence-inspiring performance from the coach or from the quarterback in terms of the coach getting his team ready. And as for the Seahawks, we'll have to see, again, if Russell Wilson, it looks like it's a decent chance he's going to play here. The stuff before the bye said that he might. And, of course, Geno's coming off an 83% completion game, career best with at least 20 pass attempts. There's a Seahawks team coming off the bye. If Russell Wilson plays, there'll be a sense of urgency here. The markets may well respect that, especially if Aaron Rodgers doesn't go for Green Bay. So those, 4s and 5s out there, if it's Wilson against Love, those 4s and 5s aren't going to be there. It'll be Seattle money. But right now, that's an if.
Last afternoon kick, and then we got the Sunday and Monday nighter to finish it off. Philadelphia at Denver. Next game up here, Teddy. We're seeing 44.5 or 45 being the total. We're also seeing the Broncos after that really impressive performance yesterday. -2.5 or -3, depending where we're shopping right here. This one a mile high. What are we thinking Philadelphia in Denver, Teddy?
We're going to doodly oop this one as well. Let's get it going. Emergency betting alert. I like your computer voice every bit as much. All that being said, this is the same story as the one we just talked about a few minutes ago with the Vikings and the Chargers. If you like 2.5, if you like Denver, find a 2.5 now. If you like the Eagles, find a 3 now. I'm not convinced the markets is going to land on one or the other, but both numbers are widely available as we speak. If you shop around, you like 2.5 -110, you can take +3 -110. That alone, there are bettors that'll do that and play for the 3. All that being said, it's certainly one of those games that, again, look ahead line here. Denver -1.5, total 44.5. My powering number is Broncos 3, and the markets are sitting at like 2.75 this morning, which, again, gives you that variability. We can go to one book and find a 2.5, and another book and find a 3. That's good news for bettors, especially around key numbers like this one. And Philly played a good game. That offense is definitely getting better. They were clicking. But I mean, the running game was working, the passing game was working. There were impressive things about Philly yesterday, although, again, some of that had something to do with the Chargers' injuries in the secondary. But 5 different quarterbacks this year have completed more than 80% of their passes against the Eagles. Dak Prescott did it. Patrick Mahomes did it. Tom Brady did it. Derek Carr did it. And then again yesterday for Philadelphia, Justin Herbert became the 5th quarterback. 80% completions means there's no pass rush and there's no secondary. And oh, by the way, Darius Slay got hurt yesterday and Avonte Maddox didn't finish the game either. So Philly with some significant issues in the secondary. As for the Broncos, I mean, they've been getting blown off the line of scrimmage. And yesterday, what they did against Dallas to run the football like that with Gordon and Javonte Williams, that's the Broncos team I expected to see for the last month. You know, the defense got big 4th down stops. Bridgewater chucking the football around. The running game working. 41 minutes time of possession, plus 2 turnovers. Denver's A game's pretty good. Vic Fangio, those guys had the right mindset, which you have to have when you're playing against an offense that's good. They bought into what we had to do to have a chance to slow them down. We did more than slow them down. Denver, good track record against elite offenses. Of course, don't know if Philly's an elite offense this week, but the Eagles' offense a whole lot better than their defense right now, which at least part of the reason why we've seen some over money come in on this one.
Teddy, we got the Sunday nighter up next. A good one here with the Kansas City Chiefs heading to Las Vegas to take on the Raiders. We're seeing the Chiefs -2.5. There are a couple -3s out there with plus money on Kansas City. 51.5 or 52 being the total in Las Vegas. Teddy, really wondering what a lower bowl ticket would cost to this one. I'm guessing a whole lot of money, but what are your thoughts here? -2.5, the Kansas City Chiefs at the Las Vegas Raiders.
Look at line KC -3, 53.5. My powering number here is the Raiders -1. I've been off market on the Chiefs of late. That has served me well. Let's continue to call them the last place Kansas City Chiefs, which is what they are right now. So my number's off the market. Look, dare I say it? The Chiefs receivers aren't doing anything. Nobody's getting open. Remember they signed Josh Gordon? Complete non-factor since joining the team. All right, the offensive line struggling too. They were down to their 3rd string tackle. Andrew Wiley yesterday at right tackle, he got absolutely abused. All right, so you don't have great weapons. You don't have great quarterback play. You don't have great offensive line play. Travis Kelce had the dropsies yesterday. They have a great punting game. Is this an under team now? The Chiefs' first 5 games, 62, 71, 54, 72, 58. Flying over the total, except the 54, I think, was right around the number. Last 4 games for Kansas City, combined, 44, 30, 37, and 20. They had 1 pass of 20 or more yards yesterday. More 3 and outs yesterday than they had all year combined. Mahomes, the lowest passing yards number for a full game in his career. 237 total yards of offense for KC. And of course, Mahomes saying what he says. I feel like we're close. You can see drives here or there. We're the team everybody knows and loves. You have to consistently do that through every single drive in a game. We're just not executing. I'm not convinced that changes here against the Raiders. The Raiders' pass rush is dynamite. You know? I mean, Max Crosby on the one side, Yannick Ngakoue on the other. They're in quarterback space. They outgained the Giants by 150 yards yesterday, but the red zone woes doomed them. 1 of 6 in the red zone. -2 in turnovers. Derek Carr, we moved the heck out of the ball. We had things that we wanted. We can't turn the ball over. I can't throw interceptions. The strip at the end, I didn't see the guy. I was throwing the ball to the end zone. We can't turn the ball over. Raiders spot, in theory, coming off the better, they certainly were good enough in many ways to beat the Giants yesterday, but found a way to lose that game. We do worry about all the off-field distractions for the Raiders. I mean, last week was as ugly as it gets here in Las Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
For off-field issues for the Raiders. And really, I mean, the community is mad. I've never seen the Vegas community mad like they are about the Henry Ruggs thing. They are pissed off, like up and down the line. My kids tell me at school, they're like, we hate the Raiders. I mean, it's really, that was a big deal here in town. It's not necessarily great for them moving forward, but this is a get healthy spot against a vulnerable team.
And when you mean that they're mad, like they want them to spend time in jail type mad?
The picture is that the Raiders as an organization, there are some, again, Vegas hasn't had professional teams. The one team we've had, the Golden Knights, nobody really got in trouble. You didn't have the off-field incidents that were making headlines. For the Raiders in the last month, you have racist emails, and you have and misogynistic emails, and now you have a horrible tragedy. I mean, it's not a tragedy; it's a guy being stupid. That has, I'm not going to say turn the tide against the Raiders in town, but they're not as universally loved right now as the Golden Knights are when it comes to building a brand here in Las Vegas.
Okay. And I like how you set that up, Teddy. The last place Kansas City Chiefs, in the first place Las Vegas Raiders, 5-3 to 5-4. A little bit kind of play on words, but still, it's a good one Sunday night in the AFC West. We got one game left here, the Monday nighter, Teddy. LA Rams, San Francisco 49ers. We're seeing the Rams -4, 49.5 being the total. Rams, Niners, what are we thinking Monday night, Teddy?
Look ahead line here, Rams -3 and 47. My powering number is Rams -6. So certainly look in LA's direction off that no-show game. That was bad for San Fran. I mean, that was bad against Arizona yesterday. There was, again, they played Chicago. No turnovers, no punts, no sacks. And what happened against Arizona? Let's see. They got a sack on the first drive, leading to a punt. They had a fumble on the second drive, the first play. They punted again on the third drive. They lost a fumble on the fourth drive, and the route was on. Home field edge for San Fran. How about 0-4 straight up and against the spread at home this year? 1-8 at Levi Stadium over the past 2 years. They now trail Arizona by 4 games in the West. This isn't a team that looks primed to make a wild card push. The offensive line got abused. Every positive momentum play immediately followed by a negative momentum play. And, I mean, the Rams just played a bad game last night. Whereas the 49ers might be a bad team. Kyle Shanahan has one winning season in his career as a head coach. Shanahan, we didn't play very well today at all. I was real disappointed. I thought we played really well. We had a good week of practice that we'd improved from the week prior, but obviously it didn't go that way. And now they're getting a Rams team off a loss. With something to prove. So that may not be a good sign for San Fran moving forward. My lean as a handicap, clearly, towards the Rams minus, although right now the betting marketplace not showing us signs that there's urgency getting down on LA. All that being said, I wouldn't be surprised if this line, I think this line's more likely to go up than go down. I feel like the Rams not going to hurt you to lay the 4 here.
Guys, just got a couple minutes here. Fire away any questions in the chat box. Appreciate everybody joining live. If you're liking the content, please smash that like button. We got Craig in the chat box saying, how much do you factor in a bad loss the week prior to your handicapping for the next week, i.e. Dallas and Buffalo?
Depends on how good the teams are. When you have good teams off a bad loss, that tends to be bet on situations. I'd rather, however, have the good team off a bad loss stepping up in class, as opposed to the good team off the bad loss stepping down in class, where it's not about winning, it's about winning by margin. So in general, you want the good teams off a loss, absolutely. But I like them in step-up games more than step down.
We got Kip saying, can you guys explain why most professional gamblers justify their winning by betting the right lines, even though, for example, they may have lost 10 in a row? I just like the long-term strategy. Of course, talking about closing line value, Teddy.
Sure. And CLV, look, there are a lot of pros spend a lot of time talking about CLV, closing line value. And this show is certainly in an effort to get you on the right side of closing line value. That said, closing line value is not the entire handicap. It's only a piece of the handicap. I don't spend my entire time on the show talking about, this is where the line's going to move, and this is why I think the line's going to move there. I try to give quotes and info that's pertinent to the matchup itself and not just the CLV. So chasing CLV is something a lot of semi-sharp players do. It's not something I'm trying to do, all right? I'm trying to find a game where the line value is there that goes with my handicap. And that, to me, is the bigger piece of the equation. Closing line value is a piece of the puzzle. It's not, by any stretch of the imagination, the only piece of the puzzle. And I know all kinds of bettors that average, I beat the closing line by an average of 1.5. And at the end of the year, they have a losing record. So that's only one piece of the puzzle.
Sure. I totally agree with that. That was well explained by Teddy. We also got some guys in the chat box kind of ranking the shows at Wager Attack. Hey, we appreciate that. You know, a lot of guys saying we're the best, Teddy. A lot of guys saying bet on it. Even, fade the public with Steve Merrill. So that's all well and good, guys. Feel free to chime in the chat box, whatever you'd like. Please smash the like button. Also, a shout out to everybody, commenting on last week's video, Teddy. We got Joey saying, this is the one thing I look forward to the most on Mondays. Only second to Monday Night Football. He's sorry about that, though, Teddy.
Hey, look, we appreciate. Look, there's been nothing but incredible feedback from you guys, and thank you so much. And the show's been in growth mode all football season. Our numbers are amazing, and we really appreciate that. If you like the show, please tell your friends. And all the comments, both here when we're going live, and of course on the replay on YouTube. As you mentioned, Drew, you and I go in there. I do my best to answer as many as I can. At least a couple different times during the week, I'll get in there and answer people's questions. We appreciate it. We appreciate your comments. We appreciate your follows. And we'll do it again next week, like we do every week, each and every Monday on the Opening Line Report here on Wager Talk. Sports, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, 10 a.m. Pacific time for sure. Boz with the comment, maybe the wildest comment on the comments from last week's show. Mike White could be the next Tom Brady, ? You never know. So, hey, even those comments are welcome, Teddy, because you never do know, right?
Sure. Well, so he could be the next Tom Brady. That being said, there's been 800 quarterbacks come to the NFL since Tom Brady, and none of them are the next Tom Brady yet. So I'll take the under on Mike White as Tom Brady. All that said, he could be. Stranger things have happened, and I've been wrong plenty of times before. I was wrong plenty of times yesterday, unfortunately. But we love the comments. We really do, and we really appreciate all the feedback.
Absolutely. And guys, check out Teddy Covers on Wager Talk. We got $9 Monday. I'm up there as well. We got Teddy hitting 241 and 189. That's 56% since week 1 of 2015. He's also 67% in the NFL since Halloween. Of course, we'll have college football, NFL, NBA. We got college basketball kicking off. So check it out, guys. WagerTalk.com. We got the free live odds service as well. Huge shout out to the chat box. Teddy, anything else you want to throw out before we shut this down?
Oh, hey, thanks for watching. Enjoy the games. Good luck tonight, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
Absolutely. For Teddy Covers, I'm Drew Martin. Thanks for chiming in, guys. Please smash that like button on your way out. We'll be back next Monday, 10 a.m. Pacific time. Come back and join us for the Opening Line Report. Best of luck with your bets until then. Thanks for tuning in.
Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at wagertalk.com. All daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including $40 5% best bets. As an added bonus, all new users will receive $25 in wager bucks credited to their accounts, available for immediate use after their initial $9 Monday purchase. So make sure to take advantage of $9 Mondays at wagertalk.com.